pitch when we come back. Our state Invitational mentioned 10 games taking place, 7 of which will be on LHN. It will be an exciting matchup tonight. Hokies will take a break and then take on number 13 Texas. That's slated for 4 o'clock. Then a trio of games coming your way tomorrow, and then 2 on Sunday to round out the weekend. Virginia Tech head coach Pete D'Amore, 5th season at the helm, 158 wins, 43 losses, a 78.6, 786 win percentage. During the time at VTech, mentioned a team that went 46-10 last year, 21-2, on their way to an ACC championship. Kat, who do you like in the lineup?
You know, I really like their leadoff in their 4-hole. Emma Ritter sets the table for the Hokies, but Jamie Bailey leading them almost in every statistical power category, 483 average, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs for this Hokie offense. So the table gets set, and Jamie Bailey, the one in there to anchor it down and get things done.
Batting 6 is left field, number 33, Olivia Taylor.
Abilene Christian in the circle for team 3-8 now on the season. Didn't even change their uniforms, it looked like, coming from last game onto this one. It will be Riley White slated to get the start. See number 15 there. 8.27 ERA. 1-3 win-loss record. 5 games started. This will be her 6th. Has gone the distance in 1. 22 innings pitched. Opponents hitting .312 on the year. What's the scout on Riley White?
Well, ACU used 2 pitchers in the opening game against Texas Southern, so Riley White getting the nod here. But Coach Farler talking about just how physically fit Riley White is and how much she worked out in the offseason to get better, to stay in a good place. We're going to see a little bit of everything. Down in the zone, curve, screw, drop. She has a couple different off-speed pitches that they like to mix in. So she likes that she stays down in the zone. Probably something good for them to use against a hot-hitting and a hard-hitting Virginia Tech Hokie offense. A lot of times you get up in the zone, they're going to be able to elevate and lift the ball out of the park, so they're going to try to go with White and force a lot of ground balls.
Always a mixed bag this time of year in Central Texas. Some days we can come out here, it's 85 degrees and it feels like summer. Some days we come out here and it's 30 degrees. We've been freezing up here in the booth today. It's about in the middle, 55 degrees, but probably are on the chillier side for my preference. How do you feel about the weather?
It's a little chilly today, especially coming off an 80-degree weather day yesterday. But I think the plus side right now is if you look at the flags, they're not flying too aggressively, so the wind is down just enough that it's not getting bitter cold up here.
Yeah, no R word in the projected forecast either, so I think we're good on that, but should be a good weekend weather-wise and good weekend competition-wise as we enter the 3rd weekend of this young season. Already some very interesting storylines on the year and takeaways, major tournaments being played all across the country. Teams always making their way down here to Austin because they think, hey, we're going to get good weather. But we have that in store for you in a full slate, 7 games, all live here on LHN as we are underway.
Riley White starting quickly behind Emma Ritter. Not what you want to see if you're Coach Farler and her staff. In order to get this Hokie offense out early, you have to really set the tone, be aggressive in the strike zone. You give them extra bases, they're going to find ways to advance and score.
Ritter, 400 hitter, 417 OBP. Slugs at a 714 clip, 14 hits. 3 of which have been doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs on this season. That, though, her first walk.
Batting second and playing second base, number 97.
We were informed for Virginia Tech, Madison Hanson, who was coming off a career weekend for the Hokies, not with the team, personal reasons. So their SID had let us know shortly before first pitch not to expect to see her. It's a big piece missing, who really had a good season going thus far early on.
Yeah, when you have an athlete of that caliber who puts up such a hot weekend, you want to see them be able to continue that, but unfortunately for her, having to stay home. But thoughts with her, for whatever reason, she was needed to stay, but the Hokies will pick up in her place, there's no doubt.
Cameron Fagan, 387 hitter. Junior, 1 home run, 3 runs batted in. Runner is going. Throw glancing off the glove. So Ritter able to take third as that ball careens out into shallow center field.
Ritter taking off on the pitch here. A great jump, easily beating the throw, but that throw wide and, as you mentioned, glancing off the glove, but well wide left of second base allows Ritter to get herself 60 feet away from scoring the first run.
So a stolen base credited to Ritter, and then the air puts her just a short jaunt away. Play made over at first, tapping on the bag for out number 1. So down goes Fagan.
Batting third and playing right field, number 6, Patty Green.
So Virginia Tech team began their season in Wilmington, North Carolina. They beat East Carolina 8-0, a run rule victory, then proceeded to win their next 4 against UNC Wilmington twice, East Carolina 1 more, and then Purdue Fort Wayne before heading to Clearwater. But we showed you the schedule. They played as expected at that tournament, such quality opponents. But 2 wins, 3 losses. The 2 wins were against Nebraska and Arizona. USF, excuse me, the loss, Arizona. One of them is this ball hard hit center field. See if it's deep enough to plate the first run. It is indeed, as Ritter scores. But this Virginia Tech team used to playing some pretty tough teams thus far.
Yeah, Coach Pete DeMore has done a great job of turning this program around, and every year they just make it a little bit farther. He was talking about postseason specifically is first they got to regionals, then they hosted a regionals, and they got to supers, then they hosted a super last year. And so each year trying to figure out how to get a little bit farther and farther. Obviously the Women's College World Series on their radar, but playing the teams that have already been there is integral for your team to understand what it takes to win when you get to Oklahoma City. So pointed out that, you know, we mentioned the Open, he lost those 3 games to World Series teams, but they were 10-9 against Oklahoma State. That was a slugfest. I think 8 or 9 home runs between the 2 teams.
Hard hit by Bailey over to short for out number 3. But Green with the RBI to bring Ritter home. Virginia Tech strikes first. ACU bats when we come back. Abilene Christian led by Abigail Farler. This team has gone to back-to-back WAC tournaments last 2 years. Currently 3-8 on the young season as we take a look at their hitting lineup. And Kat, you like the top of it, top 2 hitters.
Yeah, their top 2 hitters, Saley Eichelberger and Miranda Lista, both leading the team offensively. Lista with a 429 average and Eichelberger with a 400, but both of them were held hitless in the opening game of this tournament against Texas Southern, and Abilene Christian really needs them to get hot to set the table. Otherwise, their offense is not going to get going.
Yeah, it was a quiet game number 1. They scored 2 runs in the first inning. It was via a sac fly and an error. And then 1 more in the 7th as they tried to mount a comeback. Lindsey Grind will be in the circle. 3 starts this season, 2 wins, 3.60 ERA across 23 1/3 innings for the freshman from Mokina, Illinois. Got a scout on Grind for us?
Yeah, Grimes going to do a little bit of everything. She has a rise ball, she has a drop ball. She's a freshman, as you talked about. She throws about 64 to 65 miles an hour. Coach Pete DeMore was not shy about saying he thought the moments got a little bit big for her last weekend, but they threw her into the fire. That's the only way you're going to learn quickly as a freshman pitcher, especially if you're an elite freshman pitcher, and he really likes the compliment she has to Emma Lemley, who is the ace on their staff coming off of last year.
Eichelberger on the ground to third. Resting close was Bennett, who makes the throw for out number 1.
Batting second and playing shortstop, number 2, Miranda Lista.
Just across the plate for strike number 1 to Miranda Lista, the sophomore. 429 hitter, 35 at-bats, 12 runs, 15 hits, 5 doubles, 8 runs batted in.
So far, Grind doing a good job of getting ahead in the count. Something Coach DeMore talked about that he wanted to see a little bit better out of her. He felt like she competed well, but too many counts that she got behind on, especially in that opening game against Oklahoma State, which allowed their hitters to settle in and get comfortable.
How important is that first pitch strike?
Especially the first time through the order, it's extremely important. When you see teams start to be aggressive on it because you're throwing a lot of first pitch strikes is when then you can then start using your off speed or maybe pulling it out of the zone a little bit. But you want to set the tone early in the game saying, hey, I'm going to attack the strike zone. I'm going to control the momentum of this game. And so as a pitcher, being able to throw that can really set the tone for your defense all the way around.
1-2, goes back to that pitch that she started the at-bat with. Gets Lista looking.
She's doing a great job of owning the outside corner right now. It's a little low rise that just at the knees, but outside. Not really tailing out like a curveball, but good spin, good placement.
Avery Mylock, junior, 351 hitter on the year from just up the road, Georgetown, Texas. Biggest bat in the lineup, 4 home runs, 3 doubles. Tied for third, excuse me, and runs batted in with 8.
Grind just starting to get behind, trying to do a little bit too much, probably knowing the offensive prowess of Mylock.
4-pitch walk.
In the cleanup spot, playing first base, number 34, Sandy Sheehacker.
Defense for Virginia Tech behind Grind. It's Green, Peck, Ritter, right to left in the outfield, and then Bennett, Thrunk, Fagan, Bailey. The infield, Aldridge behind the plate. Sheelander, 406 hitter on the year, leader on the team with 11 RBIs, 1 double, 1 triple, 2 home runs.
Interesting mindset for Sheelander right now. After Mylock walks on 4 straight, she comes out swinging at the next 2. A lot of times if someone walks on four straight, it's almost the unwritten rule of not swinging at the first pitch, force the pitcher to throw a strike before you're overly aggressive.
So down 0-2, 2 down, the 1 runner on. Pounds the glove of Aldridge. Too low?
A little low, just below the kneecaps. Umpires usually force you to throw whole ball at the kneecap, so good pitch though by Grind to test the zone.
Coming in with some pace. 2 batters, she gets looking as Sheelander sits down. Abilene Christian leaves 1 on, 1-0 after 1.
I was paying for in-flight Wi-Fi.
1-0 ball game after the walk issued to begin the ball game. Brings the runner Ritter around. Abilene Christian unable to capitalize on their walk for Abilene Christian. Their day will be done. Virginia Tech will take a break after this one. So Texas awaiting to kick off their Lone Star State Invitational. Bree Peck, sophomore from Royersford, Pennsylvania.
Bree Peck leading this squad with 4 home runs. 5 of her 11 hits have all been extra bases. Add 1 double to that equation.
6 runs batted in across her 32 at-bats. Slugging at a 750 clip. 344 average to a 400 OBP.
You know, Pete Demore wasn't shy about saying he really does feel like this offense can hit with any team in the country. And they did show that in Clearwater. They put up some runs. It's just a matter of not having innings that allow runs on the defensive side. We were talking about the Oklahoma State game in the top of the first inning and how between the two teams there were 9 home runs, but he just liked how they fought back constantly in that game.
There is a hard hit ball out to the warning track, stand up double to begin the second inning for Bree Peck.
Riley White trying to use the inside corner, but Bree Peck being aggressive, drives this hard through the 5-6 hole. Listed there at shortstop, just unable to even get a glove on it. Gets all the way to the wall, and Bree Peck with her 6th now extra base hit of the season.
Second double and in scoring position.
That ball got all the way, that's how hard that ball came off the bat. That ball got all the way to the wall on the ground.
Yeah, it just kept running.
And that's another attribute to this Hokie offense is they don't just swing aggressively, talking about counts. They swing aggressively in the fact that they hit balls hard. Even their outs are hard usually, and that's what Coach Demore wants to see is how many hard outs do we have? Who barrels it up? Not necessarily just how many hits are you getting.
Yeah, I've heard that more and more across our game is coaching staffs and their approach to hitting continues to evolve, but so many times you can be the benefactor of luck or bad luck. Hard hit ball that it's just an atom ball the breeze can take to the glove of a defender, but are you making good contact? How they gauge a quality at bat.
Well, hard contact a lot of times tells you about your hitter's timing. If they're making hard contact, they're on time. Sometimes you just can't help if a defender happens to be in the right place or the line drive right at somebody. But you want hitters in the lineup that are on time with the pitchers, and so that's why I think a lot more have started to judge at bats based on the hard hits, exit velo, quality of the at bat, how many pitches you can see, things like that.
Overitis looking at ball number 4. Yeah, so many metrics and tools at the disposal. So we take you back to last week down in Clearwater and the long ball for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Clearwater opening game was fun for the Hokies, but they were able to put up quite a few long balls. It's no question that they possess power.
How different is that, Kat, from your college playing days in terms of all the data that are at the disposal of these college players now?
Well, it's so much different. I mean, we didn't have things that you pitched on that showed you your spin rate and your speed and where, your inches of movement. As a hitter, you didn't have contraptions that showed you your exit velo or what your swing path looked like. Everything was completely by the naked eye and, maybe some homemade gadget by a dad or something. But it's grown so much, which has allowed this game to be able to grow as well, though.
Batter at the plate, senior Kelsey Bennett, 211 hitter on the year, 19 at-bats, 4 hits, 4 runs batted in. So with 2 on, Peck and Overitis. Count 1-2.
First time today that Riley White's ahead in the count. Only 2 of 7 on first pitch strikes.
That one sneaks inside and gets past her catcher. So the wild pitch put 2 in scoring position. Hard hit ball, shallow center field, ranging in. Eichelberger there to make the grab. Back to the data conversation. How much of a balance is it, though, for players now to look at that, but then still you have to just go out there and play?
You do. You have to go out there and play, and I think the big thing is you have to go out there and execute. So you can work off a tee, off a front toss, in a bullpen with all these metrics and all this technology, but you still, at the end of the day, have to be able to go execute with a hitter standing in the box or as a hitter against a live pitcher. So while that's great to get a good swing or, you know, teach you how to use your body a little bit more to maybe get some more power, if you can't execute it in the game, it's not going to make a difference.
It's so interesting. You talk hitting approach to all these coaches, all these teams. It can vary so much now. It's better. Kylie Aldridge, freshman. Looking for her second hit on the year. Will not get it into the glove of Rote and not deep enough. She relays the throw in to keep Peck over on third. 2 down, 2 big outs for White and ACU.
Yeah, 2 really big outs, and again, Aldridge attacking early in the count when Riley White has struggled to throw strikes. Interesting, though, on the fly ball from Kelsey Bennett to center field that Peck at third didn't even try to tag. She stayed on the bag there. Thought she might have had a shot at possibly beating that one out at home.
Down to the bottom of the order, 9-hole hitter. Tegan Thrunk, freshman from Point Pleasant, New Jersey. A human nutrition, foods, and exercise major. 333 hitter on the year, has 9 games in which she started. 22nd at bat as she falls behind 0-2.
Looks like Riley White's starting to settle in, pound the strike zone a little bit more. Granted, that's her first 0-2 count of the day. But still, we see more strikes out of her in the last 3 hitters than we have early in this game.
Can the Hokies capitalize? Peck's double to begin the inning, the walk to Overitis. Those are the 2 on base. White this inning, 10 and 10, even strikes to balls. Can Virginia Tech turn the lineup over, try to get the bat in the hands of Ritter and add to their run tally of 1 already? Hard hit ball out to left field. That'll be a 3-run shot. First career home run for Tegan Thrunk.
Left fielder, number 90.
Talked about Riley White settling in and attacking the strike zone, but this pitch up in the zone, just over the plate, that has to be inside tighter to Thrunk if you want it to be effective. Thrunk puts a great swing. That one clearly off the bat, easily out of the park. We talked about it. White's bread and butter is down in the zone. You go up in the zone, and that's when the Hokies can really display their power.
We also showed you offensive prowess, the long ball, so it travels. Bring it from Clearwater to Austin. The first career home run for Thrunk to give her team a 4-0 advantage. Back to the top of the order, Ritter. Tough play to be made. Diving was Taylor in left field. The ball does bounce out of her glove. Great effort trying to make that nearly a highlight grab.
Second baseman, number 97.
And this is a little jam job right there in the Bermuda Triangle, but both outfielders hustling for that. Taylor just missed that. Looks like actually in her glove, comes out as soon as the glove hits the ground. Unfortunate break for the Wildcats while Ritter's on second.
Ritter will be given a double. Softly to second. Mommy there off the bat of Fagan, but the 3-run shot, first of her career for Tegan Thrunk. 4-0 Virginia Tech. 4-0 contest, number 12, Virginia Tech, Abilene Christian, day number 1. Game number 1 that you're seeing of this Lone Star State Invitational will take you back to that difference maker from Thrunk.
Yeah, Tegan Thrunk, she was down in the count. Riley White had settled in, got her first 0-2 count of the game. Tried to elevate, but didn't elevate in tight enough. And Virginia Tech, truly going back to
the colors are close.
The colors are close, and we were just talking about their opening game in Clearwater.
Against Oklahoma State.
But
I see where you're at with the gray and the orange.
Up in the zone, they can attack hard. So if you're going to attack this Hokie offense, you have to stay down in the zone, but you have to tip your hat to Thrunk right there, putting a drive into that pitch. She did go up and get it.
8th hit of the year, first career home run. Bubba Rote, freshman 303 hitter.
I keep seeing the orange, and it's just it's the Big 12
it happens.
Ties.
High in the infield. Easy first out. Falls into the glove of Thrunk.
Batting 6, the left fielder, number 33, Olivia Taylor.
I'd have to imagine that the conversation before Grind went out this inning was, hey, we have got you a 4-run lead. Let's go be efficient. Attack the zone. If ACU swings early, that's fine. Let's let them get themselves out. But let's be around the zone and try to limit pitch count if you can, so that way she might be available later on in tonight's game if needed.
Olivia Taylor steps in, sophomore. Coaching staff-wise, you've been a part of it. You've played in it, obviously. These tournaments in the year, how do you approach them? What are you trying to accomplish? Outside of obviously winning ball games.
Right. Well, one, as a head coach, you set it up because you obviously need to make sure your RPI is of a certain number in order for postseason games. And so if you're ACU, you have to play enough competitive top 25 teams to be able to prepare your team for conference. And if you make a postseason, you're prepared for that run. On the flip side, you're Virginia Tech. You go into this weekend knowing that your Texas is your 2 big RPI games. Obviously, you want to win those. But not shocking that Coach Pete DeMoore, by the choice of putting Grind out there in this one game, in game 1, is going to pitch his ace Emma Lindley, in game 2. So you really want to get people experience, but at the same time, you're getting them good experience, but not making sure it's at the detriment of your win-loss record, your RPI, and just your team in general.
Hard hit back up the middle, that off the foot of Grind. The runner is out. Great throw. So a wacky sequence of events there. It looked like it caught Grind's foot pretty hard, but nice job by Bennett and the defense to pick her up.
Taylor drives this ball right back up the middle, but yeah, gets that front left foot of Grind. Ricochets off hard enough that Bennett has the play at first. Unlucky break for Taylor right there.
Goes back to the conversation that we were having earlier about those hard hit balls. So yes, while that may not go down as a base hit, but for Olivia Taylor, that's one that she could have easily had.
Coach Farther out to talk to the home plate ump. She had her lineup out, so I'm not sure.
It is the 7-hole, Sydney Kaiser. It would be up.
Oh no, she's going to challenge it. She's going to challenge the play at first base. It was close.
The previous play is being reviewed.
So the ruling was that Bennett had enough time to make the throw. Over to Bailey at first to get Taylor. But Abilene Christian head coach Abigail Farler wanted the umpires to take a look.
And it is a bang play, so not a bad opportunity right now for ACU to try to get a runner on base. First hit of the game if it does end up being safe, but there's going to have to be inconclusive, it has to be absolutely indisputable evidence in order to overturn it. Oh, that looks like the ball's in the glove right there before she touches the bag.
Joshua Forberger, Stacy Poulsen, Riley C. Cobb, our umpire trio for the day. Yeah, I don't think the foot's down. I'm with you there.
Yeah, I think it, from the naked eye, but without slowing it down, it looked real close. But when we go slow-mo right there, you see the glove give back before her foot hits. Unfortunately, her foot hits the middle of the bag. If that foot hits the front of the bag, she actually might be safe.
So by our summation view, I think that it's going to stay as an out. But will the umpires see it that way, or does Taylor get a space over at first base after the hard hit ball off the foot of Grind? Out indeed. Stays as called.
It is. It's unfortunate if you're Olivia Taylor, you hit a ball so hard right on the screws and it ends up being an out because it ricochets hard enough. But how many times I've seen that in this game to where balls end up ricocheting and you get, whether it's double plays or like that, an out on what you thought was going to be a hit, because if it doesn't hit Grimes' foot, that's up the middle to center field. But at the same time, heads up to Kelsey Bennett being quick to make that play for the Hokies.
So after the review, Sydney Kaiser into the box, the junior 308 hitter. Takes ball one. '27th at bat of the year, 8 hits. Junior from Pflugerville, Texas.
Just down the road. Have to imagine her family's one of the few here in the stands this little bit chilly early afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think the sun's coming out. Bring your blanket. Or stay in your nice warm house and take in the action with us. 7 games, including this coming your way on LHN, part of this 10-game Lone Star State Invitational. 2-1 count, 2 down. Bases empty. All in foul territory. Over from second is Fagan there to make the grab for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning for Grind and the Virginia Tech defense.
Longhorn Network Softball is brought to you by Whataburger. Stop by and try the Patty Melt today. It's an all-time favorite for a reason.
Gloomy day, 55 degrees, cloudy. Little chilly here in the capital city of Austin, Texas. Ever growing is the skyline. 2 games coming your way here on LHN. Will be a top 25 matchup, Virginia Tech, Texas this evening, then a trio of games tomorrow, and then 2 to close out this Lone Star State Invitational. 4 runs on the board for Virginia Tech. Another ball back up the middle and off the pitcher, and another out over at first. Very similar. This one, though, staying up the middle. It was listed at short that makes the throw.
Yeah, I said I've seen this before. I don't know that I've seen it twice in a game. But yeah, Green takes this ball up the middle off of White, right at Lista. She's able to make the play to retire Green over at first base. That's 2 pitcher-assisted ground outs there. But these pitchers are probably want to put the ball a little better spot so they're not coming back hard at them.
I don't know if any pitcher wants that type of it. Do you have any pitcher assist outs like that?
I don't think we got the outs. I've been hit a few times.
It ricocheted, but
yeah,
not to a defender.
no.
Well, that's
I think we
no
might
fun.
have once. There was one time, because I finished in a very open position, I got hit kind of the side of my back, and it might have ricocheted enough that we got the out, because I know they called time. I can't remember if but I
you were in pain.
zoned out as soon as it hit me in the back. I think I crumbled to the ground.
See many pitchers, as White does, go to that facial covering as well. These batters have just become so good and balls hit so hard. Have to always make sure safety is there as well. Those pitchers very close.
Yeah, a lot of pitchers use the face mask now, and it's a combination. Hitters getting better, but at the same time, bats are a lot hotter than when I played. The core of the balls are a little bit harder, so it makes exit velocity, higher. Really, to be honest, the hotness of bats has been, it's a constant conversation, because there are hitters that can check swing and they'll check swing something to an outfield fence, and it's like the bat shouldn't be that hot that the ball flies that far if you're not full swinging.
Yeah, and it feels like bat technology is only going to continue to advance. 2-2 pitch. Count will go full. White ready to go. Bailey awaits. On the ground, over to third, off the glove of Mylock. Sheelander tried to stretch out, but not in time. Bailey safe over at first.
Right fielder, or excuse me, center fielder, number 88, Bree Peck.
Bree Peck had that hard hit double to begin the second inning. Ball getting all the way out to the warning track on the ground. Something like that could bring Bailey home. She looks at ball one to begin the at-bat.
I imagine Hokie fans will see Peck in the middle of this order for majority of her career if she continues to pound out extra base hits at the rate she is right now. When you have 12 hits and 6 have been for extra bases, bodes well for a lot of RBI situations.
Three straight takes for the sophomore. Peck will see some action in the circle. Pennsylvania Gatorade Player of the Year in 2019, a perfect game in the state quarterfinals. First season she will be on the pitching staff, is primarily action at third base across her career thus far. 4-pitch walk, 2 on with 1 out.
Yeah, what a type of athlete to possess in your lineup when she can hit at the rate she can, but at the same time can throw innings for you competitively. A lot of times hitters are good at one or the other. Even some of your two-way players won't necessarily always be at your top 25 schools because it's hard to balance both of those. But we have seen a number of them that can do it. Megan Faramo can hit for herself at UCLA. Lauren Hager's one that comes to mind from Florida not too long ago.
Overitis walked her first time up, did have a home run in Clearwater, one of the 10 home runs. Talked about that for Virginia Tech. We saw it with Thrunk. It's a home run hitting team. 1-1 pitch.
Ooh, gets the camera down there.
Yeah, gets the viewfinder shield. Our camera operator up the first base line.
There you see. Inside pitch, she pulls it. It comes right at the camera.
We got Sean working the first base hot camera. So glad he's all right. Camera's all right. Wasn't in the lens.
He didn't know the hot corner was over there today, huh?
Not sure how much a lens is to replace on that camera. But
You know, right now I think the conversation for ACU is the fact that Riley White's thrown 52 pitches, and unfortunately 27 of those have been balls, so she's not really commanding strikes real well. Haven't seen them have anybody else up in their bullpen, but 50 2-pitch pitch count in 3 innings. Very high.
So Overitis awaits, second teamer in the ACC last year, and delivers with the base hit. Runner being waved home, throw is cut off. Bailey scores to make it 5-0.
Overitis takes this outside pitch. It's actually off the plate, but drives it up the middle. Lista shifted over towards the 5-6 hole just a little bit. Allows that to get through. Coach Pete DeMore bringing Bailey home the whole way. Love to watch their base coaches run down the line with their base runners.
Third RBI on the season for Overitis. Bennett laces one out into right center. Will bring both of her teammates home. Peck in, Overitis in, 7-0.
We were talking about the fact that Riley White wasn't throwing strikes, but when she does throw strikes, the Hokies are being very aggressive. Bennett does a great job driving this up the middle, a little bit right center field, but all the way to the wall. Again, we see the power that the Hokies possess. Not necessarily home run power, they do possess that, but when you say power, it's not always about leaving the yard. Doubles, triples, balls that just get to the wall quickly, and we've seen that quite a bit today from the Hokies.
For Virginia Tech, coming in to run at second base, number 22.
Pinch runner for Virginia Tech. Maya Luco will come in, take the spot of Bennett.
We got some Virginia Tech fans in the house.
Spirited Virginia Tech fans. Yeah, hard hit balls. That sac fly from Green was hit very hard. That double from Peck. Obviously the 3-run home run, double from Ritter as well. And those two that we've seen from Overitis and Bennett as well. So the Hokies feeling it at the plate.
Well, didn't even go back up to the out that started this inning from Green. You know, that was a hard hit ball at the pitcher. So the Hokies really getting the barrel to the ball well. The question for ACU is going to be, can Riley White throw strikes that they miss-hit versus being able to barrel up?
Kylie Aldridge popped out to right field. First time up in the last inning. Sixth batter of the inning with 1 out. It was Green, the leadoff hitter, that is the lone out. Ball 4.
Yeah, Riley White just working around the plate too much and not able to work in and out of the strike zone. That was her 6th 3-ball count that she lost Aldrich on there. Kind of surprised that no one's called time and gone out to talk to her, settle her down just a little bit, maybe come up with a game plan that's a little bit stronger than what's being executed right now.
Especially after the last at-bat against Tegan Thrunk that ended in her first career home run. Scored 2 others, made it a 4-0 contest at the time. It was an at-bat that started 0-2 in favor of White. Weekly up the first base line will drop in, runner being waved, so around is Luco to score, Aldridge to third. 4th RBI of the day for the freshman Thrunk.
Wildcats trying to stay away from Thrunk after they went up in the zone and she went out of the park. This just sliced off the end of her bat, but finds a hole out there right on the right field line. No hesitation by Luco to round third and score. The Hokies looking to possibly end this one early.
Top of the order, Ritter. Walked and doubled. stole a base after that walk to begin the ball game to score the first run of the inning. 2-run rule victories on this season for Virginia Tech. Chance to turn 2 for ACU. Cannot get the exchange. Allow me to Lista. So safe at home is Luco to make it 9-0. Aldridge, excuse me, was the one that scored. Luco scored earlier.
Now we see a timeout to try to settle her defense as well, but that was going to be an RBI either way. I think Alani trying to maybe see if they could get a double play. You have to secure the first out of that, especially when you have an offense like the Hokies that is continuing to build off each other and has momentum going. But don't try to speed the game up and do too much. Just secure outs when they're given to you.
So we're Fagan to step in. Regardless, it will be full complement. 9 hitters sent to the plate this inning for Virginia Tech. 7 hits on the board in the contest, 9 runs. You talked it for ACU when we came on the air, coming off that loss earlier today against Texas Southern. Pitching the question. New per their coach in the conversations, what we had seen as well, that team could hit, potential to score runs, but how would they handle this heavy hitting Hokie lineup?
Heavy hitting's right now. 7 hits from 6 different hitters in their lineup. Tegan Thronk, the only one with 2 herself. But everybody being able to do some damage up and down this lineup, which when you talk to Coach Pete DeMoore, that's probably why he's so confident on the fact that they can hit with anyone in the country, because it's not just a few people in his lineup or the top 5. It's literally 1 through 9.
Fagan, both balls in play to the right side of the infield. 3-U in the first inning, 4-3 in the second.
Fagan, the last, I believe, of a trio of sisters who played softball at the Division I level. Oldest sister Sammy played at Missouri. Middle sister Casey Fagan played at Auburn. Now you have Cameron.
In play to the right side of the infield again. Alani does collect that ball and throw it over to Sheelander for the out. 2 down, both runners advance.
Regular Eddie Green.
Big out though right there with Alani to be able to bounce back, field that after she bobbled it, not rushing the throw.
Bailey began this inning with a single. Came around to score off the bat of Overitis. Five already in the third after 3 in the second, 1 in the first.
Riley Green just missing low and wide. Unfortunately, can't say that these pitches are extremely close.
Head across for a strike, and Bailey, be careful. Began the season 10 for 14. Kickoff for her 5th year as a Hokie. 2 home runs then in Clearwater. Ball 4. So the bases now loaded. Bree Peck.
First baseman, Jamie Bailey.
Excuse me, I was up in my card. So green over there at first. I saw you looking at your card. And, you know, what's he saying?
No, I did the same thing. And you have to change that column over. It's a little different.
So green on first. It will be Bailey that will be the batter at the plate.
And Bailey, after Green hit the pitcher-assisted ground ball off Riley White, Jamie Bailey really started the scoring here for the Hokies in this inning. And 36 pitches later, she's back up to the plate.
Thrunk over on third. RBI single placed her there. The fielder's choice in the air. Ritter on second. And the walk to Green. So everything I said for Jamie Bailey still applies, what she had done. Just now she's the actual batter at the plate. Oh, 2 reaches out for it.
Reaching, trying to make some things happen here for the Hokies. Past the bat a little bit, but Coach Pete Moore was very complimentary of Bailey, talking about she's hitting as well as she's ever had. Felt like she had a little bit of a down year last year, but back up to how she expects herself to hit. Exciting to see for this offense. You know, I think a lot of athletes assume that if you hit well early in your career, you're just going to be able to carry that on. And as scouting reports get out on you, and sometimes you just have years where your average may look low because things are right at everybody all the time, or you just struggle a little bit to get on time or see pitches.
White tries to go inside. Take from Bailey.
That was a pretty pitch right there by Riley White. See if she can get bait Bailey inside after going outside for most of the at-bat.
Count 1 and 2, bases still loaded, back up the middle. Lonnie makes the throw for out number 3, but in the top of the third, Virginia Tech scores 5. Speak with their head coach, Pete Moore, when we come back to Austin. Team leading 9-0. 1 run in the first, 3 in the second. It was a 3-run home run, and then hard hit balls, heavy hitting Virginia Tech. Going to be fun to watch this season. 5 runs they score in the top of the third inning to make it 9-0. Joined by head coach Pete Moore. Coach, wish it was a little nicer weather-wise. I saw you with the hood up, but your bats seem pretty hot. What are you seeing for your batters?
Well, first off, I'm more concerned that this close-up here, I don't have my makeup on. So, no, we're swinging the bats good, you know, getting good pitch to hit and doing something with them.
Coach, what has been the conversation with Grind? Is obviously you've had a couple long innings, but at the same time, just trying to get her to be as effective as possible against ACU. What's that conversation like between you two?
No, just work ahead, spin the ball. The more loose she is, the better she gets. So that's pretty much all we're talking about.
That sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, Coach. He got off too quick. I was going to let him know. I think he had a little breakfast on his hoodie, so we'll have to catch him in between games. Tyler Denning, Kat Osterman. First of 2 games coming your way today. The Lone Star State Invitational. Texas will take on Virginia Tech. The nightcap here at Red and Charlene McCombs Field. One of 3 days of coverage. 7 games live here on Longhorn Network. 3 tomorrow, 10 a.m., 4 p.m., 6:30 p.m., and 2 on Sunday. Texas Southern, the other team playing in the tournament, minus the quick guest appearance from Kansas. So Jayhawks will pop in and play 1 game.
Yeah, the Jayhawks are down the road in tournament at Texas State and San Marcos, so I'm guessing they don't play on Sunday there, so they asked to pick up a game. So they'll drop in here in the middle and
A lot of defensive changes coming for Virginia Tech. Those are all being relayed into us as soon as we have them. We will give them to you, but can't really, this juncture of the year, it's all about reps. It's all about playing games. These coaches, players, they want to get as many opportunities as possible.
Yeah, right now it's about winning, but it's about, like you said, it's about reps. But when you're, especially Virginia Tech, and you have the opportunity to be able to put some other outfielders or defenders in there to get some reps and to get some game situations, not just practice time, you're going to make the most of it.
Shaylee Alani, said her name a couple times, defensively over at second base, the senior from Hawaii, 179 hitter. Defense right now looks like Brown, Peck, Jackson, left to right and left field, then Bennett, Thrunk, Green, Bailey. The infield, Castine at catcher still, and Grind remains in the circle. 3-2 pitch, hard hit, that will drop in. Alani on to begin the bottom of the third inning for the Wildcats.
First hit on the board for Abilene Christian. But Alani saw a lot of pitches in that at bat. She got deep in the count. Grind just missed on the outer half with an off speed. And when you know she's not throwing that pitch a ton, you can go ahead and sit hard the next pitch, which is what Alani did. Nice drive to the outfield, but Virginia Tech's outfield also playing a little deeper so balls don't get past them, and that's just a single.
Pinch runner coming in. Logan Gaspar. Take the spot of Alani. To the bottom of the order, Gianna Russo, the freshman. Fourth at bat for her career, has 2 hits. You'd stress the importance of it. Ask Coach about it as well for Grind. Big lead, 9 runs. Coming out in the circle, just continuing as she did there. Pound the strike zone.
Yeah, just stay loose and pound the zone. I think she came out probably with that expectation or that mindset, but tried a little bit too hard, missed up in the zone on Alani, who's a bigger, taller athlete, I should say. Sometimes as a pitcher, you can try to do too much and you end up yanking balls out of the zone, get deeper in counts than you want. But she bounces back to quickly retire Russo.
Take a look at how she did it. 3rd strikeout of the day for Grind.
Yeah, she has a really good rise ball, and she spots this really tight inside. There's nothing Russo can do with that pitch. Great location by the freshman.
Back to the top of the order. First pitch swung on by Eichelberger. Diving to tap the bag does Bailey over at first. Gets out number 2.
Eichelberger pulls this. Bailey over first, just not able to handle it smoothly. Good hustle by her to get back to the bag. Might have been able to get there on her feet, but would have been bang bang, so made the dive to make it look a little more obvious.
Going with the shades too today. She almost lost him on the dive. That ball popped up our way, Lista.
Have to like the adjustment ACU's making, starting to be a little bit more aggressive in the count early. See Eichelberger swing at the first pitch, Lista coming up swinging at the first pitch. Not letting Grind really dictate the momentum of the at-bat.
Struck out looking. Go down 0-2. First runner in scoring position. Gaspar over at second. Vista awaits the 0-2 with 2 down. Burn for a ball.
Yeah, there you see her trying to use her off speed again. She's trying to work that in, a pitch that Coach Pete DeMore and staff want her to get a little bit more comfortable with. If she has that pitch, it'll truly allow her to offset her rise ball by being able to go slow and low in the zone. But as usual, there's always a work in progress for a pitcher, but when you have opportunities to try to work it into a game, you're going to.
Swing and a miss. Out number 3, 9-0. Things remain. 4th inning when we come back to Austin.
Welcome back to game 2 here at Red and Charlene McCombs Field. Virginia Tech up 9-0 on the Abilene Christian Wildcats as we enter the top of the 4th inning. Virginia Tech having 7 hits to Abilene Christian's 1, has been in control most of this ball game thus far. Sophomore Bree Peck leading off this 4th inning. 1 for 1 on the day with a double and a walk. Oh, excuse me, we have substitute Emma Jackson coming in the game for the Hokies. Virginia Tech utilizing their lead, allowing some other athletes to get some at-bats here in this game. Jackson, one of those that we saw sub in. Jackson makes quick work in her at-bat with a leadoff double for the Hokies.
Designated player Morgan Overitis.
This is an off-speed pitch offering on the outer half. Jackson right on time and pulls this down the left field line. Past Olivia Taylor. Stand-up double to lead off this inning.
So the Hokies continue to play past the bat.
Leadoff double for Jackson's first career hit.
Six-hole hitter Morgan Overitis, 1 for 1, a single walk, RBI, and a run scored. Single was last time up in that big 3rd.
You know, Tyler, looking at the scorebook and having watched this unfold a little bit, every time the Hokies do something big, i.e. the stand-up double Jackson just got, it takes Riley White a little bit to settle in, and I think that's what's hurting Abilene Christian right now.
Good bounce back there for White to sit down Overitis.
Yeah, of course, as I say that, Riley White uses her screwball here off the plate to get the first strikeout of the game for her. A good rebound despite getting behind in the count to Overitis.
Kelsey Bennett, 2 RBI double last time up. This one laced up the left field line. Over but foul. Very close.
That was very close. I thought that ball was gonna be a 2-run home run for Bennett. Tailed just about 6 feet foul of the pull out there. Not even, maybe 3 feet foul of that pull out there.
Yeah, that one had plenty of charge into it. So just a dramatic foul ball. Ball 1, the second pitch. Eight hits on the board for Virginia Tech.
5 of those for extra bases, which we talked about. Coach DeMore really happy with the way his offense has been swinging the bat. And I mentioned it earlier, you talk about power, a lot of people want to assume that means home runs, but anytime you can get extra base hits, it means you've hit the ball hard in the right parts of the ballpark. So that'll go down as part of your power, is being able to hit those doubles and sometimes triples.
Yeah, and you look at even this at bat for Kelsey Bennett, she's cracking the ball. Obviously need to straighten it out if you want to get it in play, but she's obviously seeing the ball well enough. Put some bat onto it.
Another close 2-strike pitch right there by Riley White. Trying to sneak inside past Bennett, who's been able to foul the ball off hard.
Three-two outside. Good back-to-back at-bats for the pitcher, Riley White. 2 strikeouts.
Riley White used the screwball to Overitis, uses a curveball here off the plate to Kelsey Bennett in a full count. Hokies making a lot happen offensively, but almost getting out of their own zone right now, trying to be too aggressive, but Riley White, the beneficiary of that, with 2 back-to-back strikeouts.
So Jackson remains on second.
Another new hitter here for the Hokies.
Rachel Castine came in the catching position of Aldridge.
She has 2 hits on the year, looking to try to get her 3rd here in this game for the Hokies.
6 at-bats, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 double. Sophomore from Chesapeake, Virginia. Hard over to third. Mylock to Sheelander, who makes the scoop for out number 3. 9-0, only inning that Virginia Tech does not score. We hit the bottom of the 4th when we come back.
So far in game 2 of the day, it has been all Hokies, and Lindsey Grind, the freshman, recording 4 strikeouts. You see 2 low rise balls outside there. Then she comes up and in the zone later in the game. She has been on cruise control.
43 pitches, 3 innings, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk.
Number 13, Avery Mylock.
Mylock will take her second at bat to begin her team's half of the 4th inning. We'll have to put Kurt to work here. Let's see if he's got anything for us. First pitch strikes thus far.
Mylock, one of 2 Abilene Christian hitters who have been able to reach base. She had a walk in the 1st inning. Had a patient at bat against Grind to work a 3-0 walk, actually, but take an aggressive hack on that rise ball right there. Grind spins the ball extremely well, and that rise ball she can locate on different levels, both inside and out.
7 of 12 batters, first pitch strikes prior to Mylock. Did get ball 1.
We've seen her use her off speed a little bit, which isn't necessarily one of her best 2 pitches, but Coach DeMore working to get that mixed in so she can get comfortable with it. See it right there.
Tip bat. Some more defensive changes. Martin in center. Jackson in right. Slaw over at first. Green at second. And I think that that's all good. Everything else we'd already mentioned. Brown in left field. Castine remains behind. Bennett and Thrunk, left side of the infield.
Again, Coach DeMore talked about having confidence in almost 12 to 15 hitters on his roster. So the more he can get them all reps and opportunities to get in the game, he's going to take them.
Confident pitch from Grimes. Deals that outside corner to get Mylock looking.
And we see another rise ball up in the zone. This one's supposed to be on the outer half. That a little bit of too much plate right there. Mylock not aggressive, but nonetheless an out for Grind, leadoff out for the Hokies.
Five strikeouts now on the day for Lindsey Grind. Sheetlander, one of those, her first time up. Tell me some early season storylines that have caught your eye thus far.
Well, yeah, I think the big one was that OU got their first loss last weekend, Sunday, against Baylor, playing the non-conference game early in season at Baylor's tournament in Waco. Baylor going ahead and being victorious there, 4-3. The other big one for me last night was UCLA-Florida matched up. Florida was undefeated, as is UCLA, who's now in the #1 spot after that loss that OU took. And UCLA won 10-0, 5 innings. Megan Faramo with a no-hitter against the Gators. So those have been the two big ones to me. But then again, opening weekend, you had a couple of upsets. Lehigh beat Alabama. Longwood beat Florida State. So some mid-majors making a little bit of waves early in season.
So Florida State team, well regarded 6th in the latest USA Softball Week 2 Top 25 poll. UCLA receiving all 25 first place votes, followed by Oklahoma, Florida, Oklahoma State, Clemson, and Florida State. 1-2 pitch. It's an ACC last year that went Virginia Tech, went 21-2, then Duke 19-3, Florida State 19-5, Notre Dame 16-5. The predicted order prior to this season: Florida State, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Duke, Notre Dame 1-5.
Sheetlander taking some hard hacks right now, doing a good job battling Grind. Seeing Grind try to work that off-speed pitch in a couple times. Sheetlander able to foul it off. 7th pitch of the at-bat. Have to tip your hat to hitters that can go in there and fight, especially once you get down 2 strikes. Continue to fight off pitches until you can get something you can drive.
Longest at-bat of the contest for ACU will end in a fly ball out to Jackson and right. 2 up, 2 down. Tell me ACC, when you look at the ACC as a conference as a whole, Virginia Tech obviously playing out of the ACC, where do they rank amongst best softball conferences?
You know, this is...
Without getting anybody mad at you on Twitter.
Right. You know, though, to be honest, I think up and down they have to be somewhere. I would have to say they're probably the 3rd best conference. You talk about Virginia Tech, Clemson, Duke, Florida State. I'm probably forgetting a few, but those 4 right there were all able to host regionals last year. You know, the Big 12 has OU, Oklahoma State, Texas, who all finished in the top 3 of the World Series, obviously. But after those 3, it's a different story to me. And so ACC, when you talk about from top to bottom, I think outweighs the Big 12 as far as tough conferences. And obviously the landscape's going to change. We got U of H, UCF, BYU coming over to the Big 12, where Texas will play next year. But then after that, Texas and OU will exit and go to the SEC, which obviously probably one of the #1 conferences in the country. Well, I also didn't consider the Big 10 when I was making that comment. So I don't know, though, but I still might give the nod to the ACC with those top 4. That was me putting all the pieces together.
Pac-12?
Well, I think Pac-12 is the second. It's probably the 2nd best conference. top to bottom, SEC's tough, Pac-12's tough as well, and any given weekend it can look one way or the other. But again, talking about shifting, UCLA's leaving there, and that's going to make a big difference.
2-2 pitch, no one on outside. I think the conversation can always just be, and it tends to be in college sports, it's always framed through football, and people sometimes fail to think about historic rivalries, tradition, all the other things in the other sports that are going to be disrupted. Realignment is always driven via football, it feels like, but implications all across the board as a 1-2-3 inning for Grind. Virginia Tech leading 9-0, fifth inning when we come back to Austin. Welcome back to Red and Charlene McCombs Field, 9-0 contest as we hit the fifth inning. We talked the big hitting prowess of Virginia Tech. We're excited to see them across the course of the weekend, and they have delivered 5 extra base hits on 8 hits thus far in the contest. One of those players, Thrunk, that you see, 3-run homer, first of her career. Taking that lead in the circle is Grind. Can Virginia Tech build on that?
Virginia Tech really been in control of this whole game, starting from the first inning on. Fourth inning, the only inning they didn't score, but just even playing station to station softball early to get the first run, but haven't looked back since then, piling on 3 in the second and the big 5-run inning in the third.
It was Thrunk with the 2-out, 3-run home run to left center, nearly reaching the construction going on.
Well, yeah, before that big swing, actually, the Hokies had 2 runners in scoring position, but had 2 shallow flyouts, so weren't able to score. Looking for possibly a scoreless, the ACU looking for a scoreless second from the Hokies until Thrunk was able to drive that ball out to left field.
3-1. Pass for a strike. Kat, we were talking prior to the start of the game just how dramatically different this area is around Red and Charlene McCombs Field. All your years coming here.
There's the construction going out in left field, the Player Development Center. When I was in school, there was a house out there and by left field. Actually, I'm pretty sure for my first 2 years, maybe 3, there was band members that lived in that house.
I remember, yeah, live music. It was a pretty solid party house.
So you could hear drums and music going in the middle of games. But yeah, the landscape all around here has changed quite a bit for the better. Obviously, the athletes benefiting from a player development center, indoor hitting, all of that we didn't have when I was in school. It got too cold or rainy, and we were lucky if we could get in the bubble over across the way.
Center fielder number 20.
You always hear from cold weather climate, schools that come down early season for these tournaments and what they have to do. For some teams, it's their first time playing on dirt in the season, and sometimes you can be a month into it that they've been able to get out.
Yeah, last weekend we had Nebraska Omaha here at McCombs for a tournament, and their coach had said they had gotten out. We interviewed him, I think, on a Tuesday. They had gotten outside on Monday for probably the 5th time all season so far, and that's 2 weeks in, and you're talking about warm weather climates that are maybe indoors for a max of 2 or 3 days if you count all from January and February.
Yeah, it's snowing out in California this weekend. Not sure what weather they're getting for the Mary Nutter, but
yeah,
in the LA area they were expecting snow.
Yeah, I heard it was supposed to be raining out there at the Mary Nutter. I have family in San Diego, and actually one of my aunts was going out to visit. And she sent video yesterday of hail in San Diego.
Ooh. Yeah, so what are we complaining about? 55 degrees? Jeez.
55 with light wind. I think anybody will take that right now.
The wind has picked up a little bit since we First came on air, 2-2, top of the order. It's Martin who came in, plays center field. First at-bat of the season. Back up the middle, first base hit.
Left fielder number 21, Kelsey Brown.
That's 2 freshmen when you have Jackson and now Trinity Martin both getting their first hits of their college career here in this game. Making the most of the opportunities that Coach Pete DeMoore's offering up.
Kelsey Brown, the senior, batter at the plate.
The senior didn't start this game, but Coach DeMoore talks highly about her, how quick she is, how much she's meant to this program.
11th at bat of the year, 2 hits, 2 runs batted in, 1 strikeout as a conversation in the circle. Kaiser coming out to speak with White. Coach took the hood of the hoodie off to do the interview.
Quickly put it back on, though.
Wonder if he'll do his makeup for the game tonight.
He might. He might have packed it with him.
Virginia Tech will take on Texas, a top 25 matchup. Later this evening here on Longhorn Network. Buck back up the middle. Runner is out in Brown over at first, advances the 2 others after the sack from Brown.
Brown has speed, so she comes in and uses it. A lot of times people might question why in a game of this scoring is someone bunting, but that's her game, and you have to let athletes continue to hone their skills regardless of what the score of a game is. Had a bang bang play, but first out for the Wildcats.
Addie Green looks at the ball for ball number 2.
Coach Farler out for the 2nd time today. Have to imagine she's coming out to talk to Riley White about attacking the strike zone. Not so much the defense, but bringing the whole defense in to hear the conversation. But I'm going to draw the attention to the pitch count. 113 pitches right now through 4 1/3. That's a lot of pitches on a pitcher's arm, a lot of pitches that Virginia Tech has seen and been able to adjust to now.
Abilene Christian's next game will be Texas Southern tomorrow at 12:30. Line thus far, 4 1/3, 9 hits, all earned are the 9 runs, 6 walks. Green awaits, 2-0 pitch.
Well, the free passes are a concern, but I think the biggest concern, if I'm Coach Farler, when I go back and watch film of this game, is the fact that Riley Green, minus a few pitches that have been close with 2 strikes, she's either whole ball on the plate or she's missing greatly. So that allows Virginia Tech 50-50 shot, first of all, because there's nothing that's borderline that they're having to guess whether it's a strike or not. So when they see something over the plate, they know they can really swing aggressively, and they've done that. But at the same time, out of White's hand, you can probably see that it's not close to the zone pretty obviously as well, which has worked the 6 walks.
11-3 ball count. This one laced out into center field, bounces just shy of leaving the yard, but brings 2 more runs home, make it 11-0 Virginia Tech.
Addie Green still in this lineup and gets her first hit of the day, a big one, 2 RBI double to dead center field. She found the farthest part of the ballpark. Otherwise, that might have had some power to leave the park. Good piece of hitting in a quality at bat by Addie Green.
First double of the season for Green. So Virginia Tech looks as if they will head into their matchup against Texas with some confidence at the plate. Not as if they didn't have any coming into Austin, but always feels good to kick off your road trip with a good hitting game. Meredith Slaw, senior from Warsaw, Virginia. Batter at the plate.
Yeah, I think the big thing for the Hokies is they didn't come in with a slow start. They didn't let their first game of the tournament set any type of negative tone. They've come out swinging, been able to score in 4 out of 5 innings, and really strung hits together is the biggest thing. There haven't been 4, 5, 6 home runs. They've been able to string together the walks, the singles, and the extra base hits.
Two count. 1 down. First pitch for Virginia Tech, Texas, slated for 4 o'clock. If that changes, we'll let you know.
Meredith Slaw getting her hacks in. Riley White trying to stretch the plate there a little bit against her. Worked deep into full count.
Went up the way of some burnt orange onlookers.
I do like that Pete DeMoore is able to use so much of his roster and get so many hitters opportunities, but when those hitters come in, they've been aggressive. They've been ready to hit, so it's not like they're coming in looking for a walk or just saying, oh, you know, here I am getting an at-bat. Haven't been passive at-bats from any of his pinch hitters.
Slaw takes ball number 4. Emma Jackson, second at bat of the contest. First time up was a double, that in the 4th inning. Just want to charge into it, deep center field, warning track. Foot in the orange. Eichelberg to make the grab, runners advance, 2 down.
That was a loud out off of Emma Jackson's bat. Again, another one to the deepest part of the ballpark. You go right center, left center, that probably sneaks out up over the fence. 2 good swings for Emma Jackson in her 2 at-bats today.
Morgan Overitis, second inning walk, 3rd is single. It was an RBI. Last time up in the 4th, struck out. Begins with the ball. Big cut and a miss to make it 2-2.
Big pitch right there by Riley White after getting behind, trying to get Overitis to stretch the plate on her screwball. Going there with a curveball, but getting it in enough that Overitis couldn't get extended on it.
Count full. Two runs in. Already trying to build on that lead. Chance to end the game early. Popped up. Center field. Like a word there to make the grab. 11-0 Virginia Tech leading bottom of the fifth. ACU to the plate when we come back. State Invitational coming your way this weekend. We are in day number 1. First matchup that we have seen. There's already been one game played, but a good one coming your way today. 4 p.m. Virginia Tech, Texas Longhorns, the host. Then a trio of games, 10 a.m., 4 o'clock, 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, and then 2 on Sunday, all live here on Longhorn Network. 11-0. This contest stands in favor of the 12th ranked Virginia Tech Hokies. We hit the bottom of the 5th inning, so Abilene Christian in need of runs. Run rule is in play. Lindsey Grind in the circle trying to close things out. Here's the 8-run rule. So here we are in the bottom of the 5th. ACU with 1 hit, needing to trim into that deficit. Keep this contest alive. Virginia Tech and Grind would assume trying to buy themselves a little more time in between 2 games.
ACU gonna have to score 4 if we're gonna continue this game, but freshman Lindsey Grind has really been in control offensively. ACU with only 2 base runners, a walk in the first and a single in the third. It's been a rough start for the Wildcat offense so far in these 2 games. They scored 2 runs early against Texas Southern without recording a hit. And didn't get their first hit of that game till late in the game. And so far, only 1 hit in this game.
Hit came in the 3rd inning. Shaylee Alani Grind looking for her 3rd win of the year. That across for a strike and a strike out. 7th of the day.
We've seen Grind going up in the zone. This is a little bit opposite. Looks like a drop ball that she stays down in the zone with. Knee height right there on the outside corner. Olivia Taylor not aggressive enough. First strikeout of the non-rise ball variety for Lindsey Grind right there.
Good eye. Sydney Kaiser.
Might know a thing or two about
Thing or two.
pitching spins. Just a little bit.
I thought they just had you up here, so when I had to run downstairs, you could take over. I was just thinking of that. I ran downstairs, and the difference, you talked about the player development facility. Usually around this time when Texas would be getting ready to play, you could hear the bats, you could hear everything going on in the activity, but now they're all inside. They're nice and toasty. They can come out and be warm.
Well, yeah, and that's like the second variation of player development center. When I was here, we had the bullpen, which was not turf like it is now, turfed and nice like it is now.
Hard hit ball into the glove of the second baseman, Slaw. Great defensive effort and execution for out number 2.
Great job by Addie Green, diving into the 3-4 hole. Knows she has time, gets up, makes a good throw. That was a hard hit ball off the bat of Kaiser. How quickly it got to Green. She knew she had time to make the play, but big play right there for the Hokie defense. Haven't been tested a lot today, so have to imagine the staff excited to see that play made, and by Addie Green too, who actually started in right field and moved to second base earlier in the 4th inning.
Yeah, it was Green 2 Slaw. Shaylee Alani, lone hit on the board. You were talking the warm-up. I remember more of mud pen sometimes.
Right. So when I was here, we had 1, maybe 2 cages that were not covered, just the normal netting, kind of what you see actually down the right field line for the visiting teams these days, although I don't know that anybody uses that either. But that's what we had over here. And then after I graduated, they did a covered player development center where, yeah, you could hear at bats happening, but it was at least covered for rain purposes and such. And now last year they opened that full indoor new locker room, which used to be under the bleachers here in the stadium, and now it's over there in the player development center. So change is happening, but we still have the skeleton of McCombs Field. Still looks similar enough.
Yeah, I remember I was looking at the outfield wall, the chain link outfield wall fence.
Yeah, the padding in the outfield definitely makes the view from up above or from the stands a little bit nicer than the old windscreen. So some upgrades have happened, and McCombs Field still.
Chance to end the ball game here, over to short. Thrunk makes the play. So ends her solid day and gets a victory for her team, Virginia Tech, 11-0, as they now set their sights on Texas. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Maddie Grind came out and set the tone for the Hokies early, attacking the strike zone. She retired the last 9 hitters she faced, but offensively 1 through 12, they were able to make things happen, putting a lot of balls in play hard. It'll be exciting to see in the nightcap 2 offensive teams go at it.
Top 25 matchup coming.